YouTube, it's Eleanor here, and today I'm going to be talking about 3 books I've read recently, and these are 3 contemporary books. I did a video recently with 3 reviews of books I'd read non-fiction, and I'll link it up here if you want to check it out. But I'm really just sort of splitting up my reading and what I've read. I'm trying to review everything that I read at the moment because I think that's really how I would like to do things, and so I'm kind of splitting them up into 3s, into manageable size videos, and 3s that sort of go together in some way. So all 3 of these were contemporary books. 2 were adult contemporaries and 1 is a YA contemporary. I'm going to start with the YA contemporary really because that was the one that I gave the lower rating, and that is, so this book is about our main character Kate, and she is never happier than when she is on the lake doing sort of jet skiing and helping run her family's business, which is sort of toys, I suppose, for the lake, so things like jet skis and wave runners and things like that, and that's where she loves to be, and she knows in her heart that's what she wants to do when she leaves school. But she's convinced by her mum and also by her best friend Alana that this school year she's going to join the podcasting club, or like take a podcasting class. And part of this podcasting class is they have to come up with a concept idea for the podcast, and their group decides, or their whole class decides, that their podcast is going to be on sort of an advice call-in show for students to call in and ask for advice. And lo and behold, Kate gets roped into being the host, one of the co-hosts, and we're sort of following that and her getting out of her comfort zone, but obviously there's got to be some sort of romantic element, and we're just following along with there's sort of 2 potential love interests in there, and you're never quite, absolutely no idea what happened then, the camera just went ditzy. There's 2 potential sort of love interests in this book, and you're never quite sure what's going on, although it's fairly predictable, the big reveal. But with these books, I'm not sure that that totally matters. It's sort of the build up to it. So if I was going to talk about the bits I liked about this, I liked the fact that it had a strong family dynamic. There was very present family in there, and because of the way that our main character lives, they have this cousins night which happens once a month, where the adults all go to one house and have like dinner and drinks and whatever together, and then all the cousins are in another house, with Kate often being one of the oldest, in charge of sort of organising that, and there's things like the floor is lava and all sorts of sweetie bowls and popcorn and all sorts going on, which I really liked. I thought that was really good. The thing that mainly was lacking in this for me was the chemistry, and I think that's the reason why I read contemporary. If I'm going to read a contemporary romance, I want the chemistry between the characters, otherwise what's the point? And it just lacked it for me. I didn't feel that chemistry there. I didn't feel that tension, that build up, and that big sort of sweet spot when they finally get together. So it was good, and it was quite a nice ride, but I just ended up giving it 3 stars. The next book I was quite surprised with, actually, because I hear most people rave about this particular one, and it's Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren, and I thought I was going to love it. I thought the idea and the premise behind it was really good, and I didn't hate it, but it wasn't the 5-star that I was sort of hoping that I was going to end up getting. So the book, sort of the ultimate premise of the book is that we've got Macy, and her mother has died and left her father this sort of long list of instructions of things that he needs to do for her as she's growing up, and one of them is to sort of provide her with a place to get away from things, and sort of be and go away and go for their weekends and holidays. So they buy this holiday home, and the holiday home they buy is next door to a big family of children, and one of them is Elliot, and he is sort of a kindred spirit to Macy. They become best friends from the age of like 12 or 13, and we just follow them, and they sort of fall in love. I mean, that's not a surprise. We know this at the beginning of the book. However, something has happened, and when we start the book, we are sort of 11 years they haven't spoken to each other, and there's a chance encounter. They bump into each other by chance, and it's from that moment it sort of stems this part of the book where we are going back in time and learning all about their past, and we're finding out what is happening in the present, and eventually the culmination and the build-up comes to sort of what happened and why they haven't spoken for 11 years, and you know why that was. And unfortunately for me, this was feeling like a 2 or 3 star all the way through. I wasn't sure I was getting any chemistry. I wasn't feeling any build up. I was thinking, well, it's fairly obvious what's going to happen at the end. And I have to say, what saved this book is the steamy parts, which came later on, because they did deliver on some steamy, saucy times. So that was very good. This writing duo really know how to deliver a bit of steam. And this sort of development of this ultimate climax at the end, no pun intended. So the thing that I thought was going to happen happened, but then there was more that was added to that, which made it make sense. Because had it been what I thought, I would have been like, well, that's just ridiculous not to speak to it for 11 years. But then what happened after that, I think, is what really made sense to me. So it was saved by that, and so I did end up giving it 4 stars. And it's strange, isn't it, because you can read a book nearly all the way through, and it's not until sort of everything ties up at the end you can really make a firm decision, because it really did pull it up by its bootstraps and make the book much more enjoyable for me. So yes, I did enjoy it, but not a 5 star, which I was hoping for. And then the final book I want to talk about, I finally read Daisy Jones and the Six, which everyone has been raving about. This is a book by Taylor Jenkins Reid. She wrote The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I really loved. I thought it was a great story. And this is her sort of latest one, which everyone has been raving about. This is the story of a band. They've broken up. It's happened years ago, and there's sort of this interview going on, and we're finding out, you know, what happened to this band. We find out their rise in fame, their fall in fame, the internal struggles between everybody in the band, and it's a real wild ride really to go along with. I listened to this on audio, and I think that really made it a good book, because all of the different characters were different people, which really added a good dynamic, because the format of this book is done like it's an interview. So you've got, you know, Daisy and then what she said, and then it could be a few sentences and then it's somebody else speaking, and they did change voices, but they also said often the name of the person, so that did help you to sort of follow along. It wasn't like it sort of jarred you out of the story, which I really appreciated. I thought that worked really well. So Daisy Jones and the Six is a band from the 70s, and the interviewees, the people that are being interviewed, are Daisy, the band, and also all those people that were sort of involved with the band, whether it's managers or roadies or girlfriends or wives, or people that were sort of surrounding the band and can add to the story of ultimately what led to their sort of end. So it was an easy, fun read. I enjoyed it. I read it in a day. I couldn't put it down, which is great, but it just lacked, like this one maybe, I just lacked something a bit emotionally for me. I didn't get that emotional connection to the characters, and I really do need to be sort of rooting for someone, and I didn't really have that sort of emotional connection to anyone, which I was kind of hoping for. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars, but it was a really good book. I mean, if you want a page turner, she definitely writes a page turning book, and I would definitely recommend it for that. And the 4 star is a really great rating, but it just didn't hit the 5 stars for me. So that's my video. There is 3 books, a 3 and 2 4 stars, all pretty good. I'm enjoying my reading this month. I've been reading lots of other things, but they'll be coming in different videos. And yeah, have you read these? Can you recommend me another Christina Lauren to try that is better than this one, in your opinion? Let me know. And yeah, I can't wait to see what Taylor Jenkins Reid comes out with next, because I like this sort of format that she's going to, this sort of interview idea, the flitting past and present. Yeah, I'm enjoying that. I really do think it adds another element and dimension to a story. So I think I'm coming to realise that I do like, because both of these books actually had that past and present thing, and I think that really helps to pull me through the story. Flitting back in time, chopping and changing from past to present. Yeah, I think that is a writing style that I really enjoy. So it was interesting. Those were both my 4 stars. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. Anyway, I shall stop waffling, and I look forward to chatting to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.